So welcome back, Level 1 NCEA Physicists and Earth Space Scientists, continuing on with 1.1, exploring the Earth system and human change to that Earth system. And today's lesson, we are looking at the interconnection between the different spheres, and in particular the focus of how they connected through matter and energy flow. So the Earth's spheres are all interconnected. So just to summarise the four spheres, we've got the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, the geosphere and the biosphere, which were defined earlier in the course. And these systems basically interact through matter cycling and energy flow, or these spheres actually. And examples of these interconnected spheres are the water cycle, the carbon cycle, and also nutrient cycles like nitrogen, phosphorus and sulfur. So carbon, nitrogen, sulfur and phosphorus, they are matter, so is water. So those are examples of matter cycling. And here's just to focus on the water cycle. So as you can see, it moves through the four spheres. So you've got the hydrosphere, so it moves through lakes and oceans, where it gets evaporated into the atmosphere, where clouds form, and then it precipitates down as rain, lands on the geosphere, and also is absorbed by plants through photosynthesis, for example, and then again goes through lakes and streams back to the hydrosphere, hence why it is a cycle. But you can see that basically the water is being recycled through all four spheres. It's not being lost anywhere. Okay, so the key point there is that matter is being recycled, those atoms. So the major matter cycles on Earth, like the oxygen, nitrogen, and the sulfur cycles, and also the water cycle and carbon cycle, are known as biogeochemical cycles. Okay, so just as it said in the previous, we discussed in the previous slide, the water cycle is having evaporation, condensation, precipitation and infiltration back into the geosphere, all in a cycle and going through those four spheres. The carbon cycle, another example of matter recycling, is the carbon moves between the atmosphere in terms of carbon dioxide, oceans, again in the form of carbon dioxide, and also deposition in seashells, for example, and coral, and into the ocean floor, soil, and organisms in the biosphere through photosynthesis, respiration and combustion, which we'll explore in more detail later. And nitrogen cycle is another example that converts nitrogen between different usable forms by plants and animals, as you can see in the diagram before you. So for example, ammonia is a gas, which then goes into the soil or the geosphere through nitrates, the nitrogen fixing bacteria, the biosphere, then releases it back into the atmosphere, and so the cycle continues. The key concept, of course, for that is that matter cannot be created or destroyed, only recycled through these systems. So in terms of energy, however, it flows, but it's not recycled. Okay, so the sun is the primary source of energy here on planet Earth, and examples of energy transformations are where sunlight is transformed into chemical energy through photosynthesis in plants. This chemical energy is then transformed into heat by either digestion or burning fuel, combustion. Then we have this heat energy being then turned into movement through wind and ocean currents, say in the hydrosphere or atmosphere. So that's transformations. And then we also have energy transfers, where energy moves through one object to another without changing its form. So for example, the heat of the sun, as you can see from that image there, heating the ocean and the land, so heating the geosphere and the hydrosphere. So the key concept there is that energy flows from the Earth's systems, but it's not recycled like we have with matter. It's either transformed into different forms, or it is transferred, where it doesn't change form. It cannot be, however, destroyed, just like matter. So in terms of moving forward in the standard, we're going to explore how humans impact Earth's spheres, so human activities such as disrupt natural cycles affecting the spheres. So here's a couple of examples, or a few examples we've discussed already. So deforestation, outlining how it reduces CO2 absorption in the biosphere, and this increases carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Okay, This means warmer climate through the greenhouse effect, rising sea levels, which affects the hydrosphere and geosphere, and fossil fuel use, again focusing on the carbon cycle, increases carbon dioxide gas in the atmosphere that alters weather patterns due to the increased temperatures, have warmer oceans, and therefore stronger storms, which we're witnessing in New Zealand anyway. And then finally, for industrial agriculture, the excess nitrogen runoff in the geosphere causes water pollution in the hydrosphere, leading to harmful algal blooms in the biosphere, which is, of course, affecting the fish because it's going to take all the oxygen away, so the fish essentially die due to lack of oxygen. So that's kind of examples on the human impact of Earth's spheres.